clenching his fists, gritting his teeth, and spitting out each word one by one. Do you know that it's because you provoked Chen Chen that Bai Muxiue and Yi Xing are both hostile towards you? But do you know that you represent not only yourself, but also the entire Wang family? Because of you, Bai Muxiue and Yi Xing may no longer have a good impression of our Wang family. We could ignore Chen Chen before, but now he's ranked 9th on the Prodigy ranking. 3 people from the top 10 of the Prodigy ranking are simultaneously hostile to our Wang family, 2 of whom are even the 1st and 2nd place winners. Do you know that because of your foolish behavior, I might be targeted by all 3 of them in the Prodigy Sprint Camp that starts in 5 days? If I suffer from poor rankings and lack of resources because of their targeting, what compensation will you offer me? After saying this, Wang Tungyin kicked out again with force, embedding Wang Tungfei's body heavily into the sturdy wall of the villa, leaving the entire wall covered in cracks. Wang Tungyin took a few deep breaths, looking at the unconscious Wang Tungfei, still feeling somewhat unsatisfied. Just as he was about to step forward to vent his anger again, a calm voice came from outside. That's enough. Upon hearing his father's voice, Wang Tungyin took a few deep breaths, closed his eyes, and tried his best to calm his anger before throwing a punch. A stone pillar in the hall, nearly a meter in diameter, was instantly covered in cracks and then collapsed. Wang Tungyin then left directly from there. How could I possibly contend with Bai Muxue's strength? Wang Tungyin also felt powerless after watching the video of Bai Muxue easily defeating Zhang Haolin, who was ranked 3rd on the Heavenly Pride list a few days ago. That kind of strength is something he can't compete with. If Bai Muxue and the other 2 really target him in the Prodigy Sprint Camp, because he is Wang Tungfei's brother, causing him to not get good cultivation resources, then he vowed that after the Tianjiao Sprint Camp ended, he would definitely skin Wang Tungfei alive. Chapter 37. Martial Arts Training breaks 2 levels in one go. On this day, Chen Shun was improving the quality of his qi and blood when Bai Muxue opened the door and went inside. Now Chen Shun no longer plans to improve his own cultivation level, but instead begins to improve other aspects. Right now, the easiest way to increase combat power is to improve the quality of his qi and blood. After all, his current qi and blood quality could theoretically be cultivated to the top grade of the earth level, but it is only at the middle grade of the mortal level, so there is still a lot of room for improvement. Chen Shin felt a little puzzled when he noticed Bai Muxue walking in. Uncle Su saw this top-grade, earth-level body-strengthening medicine, Azure Flame Oil, in a martial arts shop outside at noon today. I thought you really needed a body-strengthening medicine to improve your body-strengthening realm, so I bought it for you. Here you go. Bai Muxue handed Chen Shin a water bottle about the size of a glass, which contained Azure Flame Oil. Chen Shin stared blankly at Bai Muxue, who was a little embarrassed. After thinking for a moment, Chen Shin accepted it. Judging from Bai Muxue's expression, he knew that the Azure Flame Oil was not bought by Uncle Su, but most likely given to Chen Shun by Bai Muxue from her own cultivation resources. It should be noted that Bai Muxue also cultivated both her qi and blood, as well as her external martial arts, simultaneously. This top-grade Azure Flame Oil of the earthly realm will also be very useful for improving her own cultivation level. But she still gave it to him, and Chen Shun was immediately moved. That look made Bai Muxue's usually cold face start to blush. Stop improving your blood and qi quality for now. I'll apply this Azure Flame Oil to your body. You can start practicing the external martial arts. After all, you've already reached the 2nd level in blood and qi cultivation, so you can't neglect external martial arts either. Bai Muxue blushed slightly as she stood beside Chen Shun and took the Azure Flame Oil from his hand. Then she looked at Chen Shun. Seeing this, Chen Shun also began to take off his clothes. He stripped completely naked. After all, this Azure Flame Oil is a topical medicine that needs to be applied all over the body to achieve its maximum effect, similar to the use of jade dew ointment. Upon seeing Chen Shen's entire body, Bai Muxue's usually icy face instantly turned bright red, completely losing her image as a cold goddess. Then, with slightly trembling hands, she carefully poured some Azure Flame Oil onto Chen Shen's body and began to spread it evenly over his skin. Instantly, Chen Shen felt as if his skin, covered by the Azure Flame Oil, was sinking into a magma field at tens of thousands of degrees, unbearably hot. The powerful medicinal force of the precious medicine penetrated through his skin and into his body, making Chen Shin feel as if magma had been injected into his body. He was in excruciating pain, and his face contorted in agony. The jade dew ointment was only a mid-grade earthly realm level treasure medicine back then, While this azure flame oil is a high-grade, earthly realm-level medicine, both its potency and the level of pain it causes are greater than the original Gyakuro ointment. In the blink of an eye, the skin that Bai Muxue had applied ignited with a raging fire. The raging fire would not damage Chen-Chen's skin and flesh, but would instead use the high temperature of the fire itself to temper Chen-Chen's body, making it stronger and stronger. This is how azure flame oil tempers the body. It enhances the medicinal power and is also tempered by intense fire. In just 10 minutes, Chen-Chen's physical training technique made a breakthrough. From the iron skin level to the gold skin level, a faint golden glow emanated from the surface of that skin. This signifies that Chen-Chen's cultivation level has advanced further, and his defensive capabilities have been enhanced once again. A top-grade medicine of the earthly realm level is really effective. The remaining energy is definitely enough to raise Chen-Chen's cultivation level by another small realm. After applying the oil all over his body, Bai Muxue stood aside, watching Chen-Chen's body. Whenever the flames on one part of his body died down, she would add a little more azure flame oil to that area to reignite the flames. At this moment, Chen-Chen's facial expression was extremely painful. The pain of being burned by flames all over his body was something that ordinary people simply could not bear. However, Chen-Chen thought of what the original Chen-Shun had experienced in his youth, and he knew he had to persevere. Back then, Chen-Shun, the original owner of this body, would have his abdomen cut open and his kidneys removed by his adoptive parents every day without anesthesia, leaving his injuries untreated. Such torment, day after day, also made the original owner of Chen-Chen's mental will stronger than ever before. For him, many injuries were as easy as drinking water. He had an extraordinary level of control over his will, and he could endure even the most brutal physical pain with a calm and expressionless demeanor. Chen-Chen also wanted to achieve that. Although I have now merged with the other's soul and memories, I have not inherited the other's steely will and can only hone it myself. I still have a bit of a competitive spirit. In Chen-Chen's view, he and the original Chen-Shun were the same person. The difference in their childhood experiences led to their different personalities now. If Chen-Chen's childhood in the myriad realms was tragic and helpless, Chen-Chen's childhood on Blue Star, however, was happy and fulfilling. Both he and Chen-Chen from the myriad realms were born with self-awareness. They were conscious from the moment they appeared, capable of remembering and thinking. They also knew that they did not have biological parents, but were conceived out of thin air by heaven and earth. The original Chen-Shun was born in the desolate wilderness of the myriad worlds. No one raised him, and he was accompanied by wild beasts. Later, he was kidnapped and sold. As for Chen-Shun, he appeared in a small alley in a city in Blue Star, China, where he was discovered and adopted by a family. His adoptive parents treated him very well, and he also had a younger sister. The younger sister gets along very well with her non-blood-related older brother, and they live a happy, healthy, and prosperous life. He and the original Chen-Shun are the two extremes. In Chen-Shen's view, the two of them seem to be two sides of the same person. One person experiences the beauty of family life, while the other endures all the malice of the world. It seems that only when the two of them are completely integrated can they become a complete person. Since the original owner of this body, Chen-Shun, could easily withstand any pain, then so could I. Chen-Shun took a few deep breaths, straightened his posture, and silently endured the endless baptism of flames on his body. Gradually, he controlled the ferocious expression on his face, and it began to calm down. But her body was still trembling slightly. After all, this pain was not something that could be endured simply by trying to be calm. Half an hour later, Bai Muxue applied all the azure flame oil she had to Chen-Chen's body. At that moment, the golden radiance on Chen-Chen's skin began to thin out, slowly transforming into a faint white jade-like glow. This is the sign that the copper skin has reached the jade skin level. Chapter 38 includes Bai Muxue. More than 10 minutes passed, and Chen-Shun, relying on the last bit of medicinal power, completely stabilized Yu Pai's realm. At this moment, Chen-Chen's skin was filled with a radiant glow, as smooth and delicate as a baby's. It looks very smooth and tender. Chen-Chen took a deep breath and then stood up, slowly embracing Bai Muxue in front of him with a grateful expression. If Bai Muxue hadn't given him the azure flame oil, he would have needed to cultivate for a long time before reaching this level. It sounds pretty good to be a kept man. Muxue, thank you. Holding Chen-Chen like that, Bai Muxue felt her whole body burning up, but she just didn't want to leave. Let me help you wash off the dirt. Bai Muxue lowered her head, not daring to look Chen-Shun in the eye. Qin Shun was also stunned for a moment, wondering if he had misheard, staring blankly at Bai Muxue, whose ears were already bright red. Bai Muxue has already said so much. If he still doesn't understand, then all the resources he watched on Blue Star were for nothing. Seeing that Chen Shin didn't make a move, Bai Muxue lowered her head and silently took Chen Chen's hand and walked into the bathroom. To avoid getting her clothes wet, Bai Muxue took off her clothes, leaving her wearing only 2 undergarments. Bai Muxue has a really good figure, especially those long, shapely legs, which were what attracted Chen Chen's attention the most. Bai Muxue is very tall among girls, with a terrifying height of 1.81 meters. He is 8 centimeters taller than Yi Ziying, who is 1.73 meters tall, and all 8 centimeters of that length were on his legs. If Chen Chen weren't 1.85 meters tall, he really wouldn't be able to keep up with Bai Muxue's astonishing height. Bai Muxue's legs were like snow in the cold winter, pure white and beautiful, untouched by the mud. With a perfect balance of fat and lean, they weren't as aesthetically pleasing as bamboo poles, nor were they too fat and unattractive. They were simply a pair of long, perfectly long legs. Her waist was slender and delicate, easily encircled by one hand. Everything was just right. After taking a shower, Chen Chen gently carried Bai Muxue into the bedroom. Bai Muxue naturally knew what she was about to face and was prepared, burying her flushed face in Chen Chen's chest. In Yi Ziying's room, Yi Ziying, who was in seclusion cultivating, seemed to hear something unusual, frowned slightly, and woke up from her cultivation state. Looking at the wall in Chen Chen's room, and listening carefully, they indeed heard some extraordinary sounds. Is this still my little sister Muxue? Yi Ziying was a little surprised. In her eyes, Bai Muxue was usually so aloof and indifferent. But what about now? She seems even more terrifying than that succubus. It ended 3 hours later, because Bai Muxue was in a deep sleep. At this moment, Chen Chen still felt like he was full of energy and vitality. They didn't look tired at all, nor did they seem to be lacking in energy. His current self-perception is, I'm going to take on 10. All this confidence comes from the system points lottery just now. Having acquired Bai Muxue, Chen Shun gained 135 points. He then drew 100 times, leaving 35 points behind. Aside from some unimportant things, the good things I received included Purple, Martial Arts Enhancement Card *2, Cultivation Technique Enhancement Card *1, Small amount of Spear Dao Insights, Small amount of Combat Insights, Affection Goo, Earth Level High-Grade Martial Arts Skill, Cloud Wandering Step, Sky Level Low-Grade Martial Arts Skill, Heaven Shattering Strike. Red, Golden Kidneys, a drop of the essence of life. Gold, the Sun Level Soul Dual Cultivation Technique, Yin-Yang Harmony Scripture. The reason Chen Chen possesses such formidable combat prowess is due to his golden double kidneys. With these golden kidneys, who am I afraid of anymore? I could take on 10 more of them. Chen Chen was brimming with confidence at this moment. Looking at all the good stuff he had drawn this time, Chen Chen was very satisfied. Especially this Yin-Yang He Dao Jing. It's even a sun-level item. Holy crap. But am I allowed to cultivate? Chen Chen is currently at the first level of martial arts. Asking him to cultivate a sun-level technique is like asking a first-year student to learn doctoral-level mathematics. Can you learn it? With a mix of trepidation and excitement, Chen Chen opened the book on dual cultivation of the soul. The very first sentence of the introduction made Chen Chen beam with joy. This technique has no level restrictions. Any martial artist can practice it. Chen Chen felt like he was about to burst out laughing. With such a powerful dual cultivation technique for the soul, I'll be soaring to new heights. Then, Chen Chen began to watch with great interest. This cultivation technique is a physical book given by the system, unlike the previous cultivation techniques and martial arts skills, which were simply transmitted into my mind. The system is really thoughtful. After reading this cultivation manual, Chen Chen was also astonished. 1 moment of soul-to-soul communion is equivalent to 5 days of arduous meditation. Moreover, this cultivation technique is a dual cultivation technique for the soul without any side effects. In the myriad worlds, there are indeed dual cultivation techniques, but those techniques all have some degree of harm. For example, sometimes the yin and yang become unbalanced, causing one side to be injured, or because it is dual cultivation, the realm becomes unstable, the foundation is not stable, and the strength is not strong, and so on. This cultivation method is heaven-defying. It will not cause the realm gained through dual cultivation of the soul to float, will not have a negative impact on one's strength, will not affect one's potential. and will not harm one. The results of this dual cultivation of the soul are exactly the same as the results of one's own arduous cultivation. This is why this dual cultivation technique of the soul is at the sun level. If it really had any flaws, it wouldn't be a sun level technique. However, this technique also has a drawback. That is, for two people to engage in dual cultivation of souls, their hearts must be in sync and they must truly love each other. If not, and they still engage in dual cultivation of the soul, both parties will suffer backlash from the technique, ranging from severe injury to demonic possession and death. Although it is a dual cultivation of the soul, the pure energy of heaven and earth can nourish any martial art one practices. This dual cultivation technique allows the souls of the two individuals to come into contact with each other during each practice, achieving a deep connection and enhancing the relationship between the man and woman. This made their relationship grow stronger over time. Then, Chun Chun examined another item in the red reward, the origin of life. Life essence. No matter how severe the injury, it can heal and restore you rapidly. Even someone who has been dead for less than 5 minutes can be revived with a single drop of life essence. Chun Chun also took a deep breath. This life essence was really terrifying. It could bring people who had just died back to life. It was like snatching people from the jaws of death. Chapter 39, the scripture of yin and yang harmony. Then came the purple reward. The low-grade celestial level martial art, sky-shattering strike, is a spear technique that consists of only one spear strike. But this one shot can shatter the heavens. From these two words, one can see the power of this technique. After a glance, I understood some of it. To unleash this spear, one needs to accumulate power. The longer the power is accumulated, the greater the power of the spear. The Wandering Cloud Steps, a superior grade earthly realm technique, is a movement-based martial art. This is also the aspect that Chun Chun most needs to improve right now. Although he is fast, he cannot coordinate and operate well. If he learns the cloud wandering steps, his graceful movements combined with the speed generated by his muscles will be absolutely terrifying. As for this love goo, Chun Chun felt somewhat interested. Once blood is dripped onto this love goo, it will recognize its master. And once this love goo is ingested by someone, that person will fall in love with the love goo's master in a short period of time, and will not harbor any malice towards the love goo's master, only love. I can tell at a glance that you, this love goo, are a wicked thing that will ruin other people's relationships. Let me subdue you. With me watching over you, you won't go out and harm anyone. After saying that, Chun Chun dripped a drop of blood onto the goo worm. The goo of affection, which was about the size of a little fingernail, twitched slightly and then stopped moving. Chun Chun put it into the system space. The system has good space, but it can only hold things extracted from the system. After reviewing the main rewards, Chun Chun looked at his own stats. In addition to these good items, he had also gained health and charm points from 100 draws. This time, Chun Chun gained 530 more health points and 9 more charm points. Chun Chun now has 22 points of charm, and combined with his already handsome face and physique, he is now even more handsome and captivating. At this moment, Bai Mushua let out a soft moan. Then her eyelids fluttered slightly, and she woke up. Seeing that the two of them were completely naked, and with everything that had just happened flooding back into her mind, Bai Mushua, it blushed furiously and wanted to disappear into the ground. It's so embarrassing. She was shouting so happily and loudly just now. Is this really her? Most importantly, she eventually fainted. She glanced again at the splash of red on the bed, her face flushed with shyness, the ice queen melting into a warm, rosy goddess. I feel like you've gotten even more handsome. You look even more attractive to girls than that succubus Ezing. I feel like you're the succubus. The moment Bai Mushua saw Chun Chun, she felt her gaze completely fixed on him. It seemed that Chun Chun possessed an immense attraction for her. She didn't want to take her eyes off Chun Chun at all. Chun Chun coughed, and then took out the Yin Yang He Dao Jing, scripture of Yin Yang harmony. Mu Shui, you can learn this technique. That way we can cultivate our souls together, which will not only enhance our feelings for each other, but also improve our cultivation levels. Bai Mushua listened to Chun Chun's words and took the book with a puzzled look. When she looked at the manual, her eyes widened immediately. Her face grew redder the more you looked at her. Most importantly, this cultivation technique is actually at the sun level. It was a dual cultivation technique for the soul. Bai Mushua had never heard of a dual cultivation technique for the soul at the sun level before, and this one was actually a high-grade sun level technique. The most widely circulated top-tier dual cultivation technique in the myriad realms is the Moon Radiance Grade 9 technique, sun and moon shining together. However, compared to this sun-grade superior quality, yin-yang harmony scripture, which has no side effects and such powerful effects, it is completely insignificant. Chen, where did you get this cultivation technique? If it were to spread, it would drive countless people crazy. Even some powerful figures at the three realms level would come after it. This dual cultivation technique for the soul, with no side effects and powerful results, simplifies cultivation countless times over. The spiritual communion and cultivation is equivalent to 5 days of arduous self-cultivation in one session. It only takes 3 hours to run through the entire contents of the yin-yang harmony scripture. 3 hours is equivalent to 5 days of arduous training. Such a good thing would absolutely drive people crazy. So, Mu Shui, I trust you completely. That's why I let you study, and Ziying can study too. As for the origin of this cultivation technique, it's very strange. After we finished doing this book suddenly appeared in my mind, as if it had appeared out of thin air. Chen Shun explained with a serious expression. Bai Mushui gave Chen Shun a deep look. Chen, your ancestors must have been very powerful, otherwise they wouldn't have had such abilities. They could even store physical objects in their brains and release them when certain conditions are met. Chen Shun chuckled to himself, thinking, explain it however you like. Why did I hear my own name? At this moment, Yizing opened Chen Shen's door and walked straight in. Bai Mushui immediately covered her body with the blanket in embarrassment. Why are you shy, Mushui? I'm a girl, and we'll be fighting side by side as sisters in the future. Why are you so shy? Yizing looked at Bai Mushui with a smile, which immediately made Bai Mushui's face turn red. What do you mean by fighting side by side? She quietly got dressed in bed. Chen Shun was very casual. He just put on his underwear, and that was it. Perfect timing. Ziying, you will also learn this technique. After reading it, Yizing was also surprised, and then naturally and happily accepted the cultivation technique. Afterwards, both women left to practice the technique and improve their proficiency. Chen Shun also began cultivating. After all, running the yin-yang he dao jing once is equivalent to 5 days of cultivation, which is only the beginner level of proficiency. Reaching the entry threshold grants a 7-day pass. Entering the subtle realm grants a 10-day pass. And entering the ultimate realm grants a 15-day pass. As for the mastery level, one practice session is equivalent to a month of arduous training. More importantly, the yin-yang harmony scripture at the divine level, once cultivated, will enhance one's understanding of martial arts, make it easier to resolve one's own confusion about martial arts, improve one's understanding of martial arts, and have the effect of guiding one through confusion, enlightening one's mind, and breaking shackles. The yin-yang harmony scripture emphasizes the balance of yin and yang. When one reaches the level of divine attainment, yin and yang reach a state of equilibrium, which can help one to more easily understand the great Tao, comprehend one's own great Tao, deepen one's understanding of all things in the world and the universe, and enhance one's own strength. General dual cultivation techniques may have many effects on those below the 9th realm, but once you reach the 9th realm, you can no longer improve through simple cultivation. Whether it's a month of arduous training or a year of arduous training, it's all the same to them. What they need at that time is enlightenment. Enlightenment of themselves and enlightenment of the great Tao, instead of asceticism. Therefore, people at their level wouldn't even consider ordinary dual cultivation techniques. However, the yin-yang harmony scripture is different. Once you cultivate it to the level of divine mastery, it will be of great help even to experts above the 9th realm. Moreover, the yin-yang harmony scripture is not about physical dual cultivation, but about dual cultivation of the soul, and there will be no physical contact. Chen Shun is now full of ambition. As long as he improves his proficiency in this dual cultivation technique of the soul to the divine level, he won't be too far from surpassing Bai Mushui and Yizing. You know, he just drew a cultivation technique upgrade card. After getting stuck at the transcendent level, you can directly consume a cultivation technique upgrade card to instantly reach the divine level. Chapter 40, Extra Points. Chen Shun checked Bai Mushui's character panel. Name, Bai Mushui. Age, 18. Appearance, 96. Realm, early stage of Qi and blood manifestation realm. Early stage of physical refinement realm. Identity, granddaughter of the great elder of the Qingqiu lineage of the Fox clan. Talent, frost domination. Frost overlord. Possesses ultimate control over the ice attribute, a superior talent to the ice attribute affinity talent, and has ice attribute in his own bloodline, making his attack power extremely strong. Favorability, 97. Shun was slightly surprised to see this level of favorability. He guessed that Bai Muxue liked him very much, but he didn't know it was to this extent. 97% favorability. This means that Bai Muxue is willing to die for Shun. To be honest, neither he nor the original Shun knew why Bai Muxue was so good to him, nor did they know the reason. Then, he checked his character panel. This was one of the few times he checked his own panel. He usually didn't look at it much. Name, Shun. Age, 18. Charm, 107. Realm, early stage of Qi and Blood Bell realm, added. Bronze skin realm, Jade skin realm, added. Qi and blood quality, superior grade, plus. Talent, comprehension of battle invincibility, 19%, added. Cultivation methods, introduction to the Yin-Yang harmony scripture, added. First half of the Celestial Star True Scripture, added. First volume of the Heavenly Forbidden Scroll, added. Martial arts, Mad Demon Fist at a divine level, Thunderbolt Spear Technique at a transcendent level, plus. Heavenly Imperial Palm at a transcendent level, plus. Looking at his panel, Shun knew that all the plus signs could be added using system points. He could improve his martial arts skills, cultivation techniques, and cultivation realm by using system points by clicking the plus sign. But now he only had 35 points left. I don't know what I can do with so few points. And this 19% progress of the Enlightenment Battle Body, does it refer to the extent to which I have developed the Enlightenment Battle Body? With only 19% progress, you already have such strength. If you increase it to 100%, how strong would the Enlightened Battle Body be in its full state? The development progress of this Enlightened Battle Body can also be improved using system points. As for those 107 points of charm, even Shun was surprised. Originally, his charm value was only 85 points, but after 2 draws, it increased by 22 points. It has reached the terrifying level of 107. He has no idea just how handsome he is. Shun tried clicking the plus sign after Blood Bell Realm and selected to consume 1 point. Then he saw that his own blood and energy had increased. The original 1635 points of Qi and blood have become 1735 points of Qi and blood. 1 point directly increases your health by 100 points. He currently has 34 system points, and if he adds them all to his Qi and blood, he can increase them by 3,400 points. Reached 4,135 points of Qi and blood. He instantly became a martial artist in the late stage of the Blood Bell realm. Is this 1 point really that powerful? However, Shun did not do that at the moment, but instead turned his attention to the external martial arts. His external martial arts training is currently at the first level. These 34 points are enough to advance him from the early stage of the Blood Bell realm to the late stage, almost to perfection. That would definitely elevate the Jade Skin to the Demon Skin realm, a level that is extremely difficult for martial artists to reach, even among those who practice external martial arts. Shun had heard Bai Muxue mention that when she was in the Copper Skin realm, with the help of her clan elders, she used a very precious medicine to break through to the Demon Skin realm. The Demon Skin realm greatly enhances the foundation of one's physical body, allowing you to go further in the future. It also significantly strengthens one's defense, making it many times stronger than the Jade Skin realm. Shun is determined to reach the Demon Skin level. Let's do it. He sat cross-legged in the cultivation room and began to add points. 10 points were added all at once. But in an instant, Shun sensed that something was wrong. Something's really wrong. Didn't I add some cheat codes myself? Why does my body still hurt so much? Damn it. Shun's body immediately turned red, and all the muscles in his body tensed up, with his veins and blood vessels bulging out. It looked as if it was about to burst out of its body at any moment. His eyes were bloodshot and filled with pain. Isn't it true that in novels, the main character's stat points increase without any effect after being allocated? Why is it so painful to add skill points when it comes to myself? This is even more painful than using the Azure Flame Oil before. He felt as if his soul was being squeezed by space, and he was in excruciating pain. It was as if his entire body would be crushed by the space at any moment. That's not fair. Even with cheat codes, I still have to suffer this much. Shun's teeth couldn't withstand the pressure and shattered. Vomit. He spat out many broken teeth from his mouth in one gulp, and then instantly, the teeth grew back. But less than 30 seconds later, it was chewed up again. Gradually, black cracks began to appear on Shun's body surface, and these skin cracks emitting a black aura were slowly increasing. Shun closed his eyes tightly in pain, his fingernails digging deep into his palms. Blood was flowing freely. He was even wondering if he had added too many points at once, and his body couldn't handle it. 10 minutes later, Chun Chun was like a piece of porcelain that would shatter at the slightest touch, his entire body covered in cracks, some only a few centimeters wide. The large cracks are over 10 centimeters in diameter and 3 to 4 centimeters wide. However, what emanates from these cracks is black energy gas, not flesh and blood from the body. Chun Chun sat motionless on the ground with his eyes closed, surrounded by a pile of broken teeth. He chewed them all up. Although his physical injuries could heal, the deep, bone-chilling pain he experienced was very real. Gradually, Chun Chun felt the black gas emanating from the cracks in his body decreasing. He could also feel that his ever-increasing aura was gradually weakening. I immediately realized that the points I added weren't enough. Now that we've come this far, we must break through to the demon skin level in one fell swoop. Otherwise, all that suffering would have been for nothing. Then, 5 more points were added. It's like an engine that's run out of fuel has been refueled and is now running at full speed. The black energy gas began to continuously leak out from the cracks on the skin's surface. In Chun Chun's perception, these black energy gases did not return to the world, but instead lingered around him. These black energies began to rotate rhythmically counterclockwise, enveloping Chun Chun, while black gas continued to escape from the cracks on Chun Chun's body. Chun Chun then added 5 more points. More black gas is escaping. Finally, the black gas completely enveloped Chun Chun's body, forming an egg that felt extremely evil, like a demon's egg from hell. Chapter 41: The Power of the Demon Skin Realm. The black gas seemed to be alive, forcefully enveloping Chun Chun's body. Then, the black gas enveloping Chun Chun's body began to shrink slowly, and Chun Chun's body began to emerge from the oval black sphere. At this moment, the cracks that covered Chun Chun's body had disappeared, and he had returned to normal. Only after all the black gas had entered Chun Chun's body did he feel all the pressure on his body finally dissipate. Suddenly, he collapsed to the ground, utterly exhausted. Looking at his hands, the faint white light that had been emanating from them had disappeared, replaced by black gas that would appear on his skin with the slightest thought. Upon seeing this, Chun Chun realized that he had finally broken through to the hidden realm of magic runes. The copper mirror is now complete. Then you can start working towards advancing to the skin texture realm. But Chun Chun was completely exhausted and didn't want to move at all. Chun Chun lay there for more than half an hour before he felt his strength return. He stood up. With a single thought, countless black wisps of energy continuously emerged from the surface of the skin. The moment these black wisps emerged, they adhered to Chun Chun's body surface, forming a set of black protective armor. Chun Chun looked in the mirror. I suddenly felt incredibly cool. So this is the demon skin realm? This armor formed from black energy not only greatly enhances my defense, but also increases my strength and speed. Chun Chun was genuinely shocked. He felt that he was no longer a bronze skin realm body cultivation martial artist. At this moment, he felt that he could kill a peak second realm skin pattern realm person with just this set of black armor. Power, it really is addictive. Chun Chun sighed, and then with a thought, the black armor on his body instantly seemed to come alive, returning to his body in a very short time. Now that the demon skin is complete, we can begin inscribing the demon runes. After cultivating to the bronze skin realm, one can begin to inscribe demonic runes on their body. As long as one demonic rune is successfully inscribed, it means that one's external cultivation has entered the second realm, the skin rune realm. Everything is difficult at the beginning. It is extremely difficult to inscribe the first magic rune. Chun Chun wasn't in a hurry. He wanted to see if he could quickly inscribe it. If not, he would have to add more points. This practice lasted for an entire afternoon. The practice was still not over by 7 p.m. At this moment, many black marks have gathered on the skin of Chun Chun's right arm. Once these marks come together to form a demonic pattern, he will break through to the skin pattern realm. Chun Chun skipped his meal and began cultivating, becoming so engrossed in it that he didn't want to leave. After dinner, Bai Mushiwe and Yijing quickly returned to their room and made the most of their time to learn the basics of the Yin-Yang Harmony scripture. Once you get the basics down, your cultivation speed will skyrocket like a rocket. Chun Chun cultivated for 2 days without eating, drinking, or sleeping. Even Bai Mushiwe and Yijing were wondering if Chun Chun had been so engrossed in cultivating the Yin-Yang He Dao Jing that he had neglected to eat and sleep. Do we really need to work this hard? He hasn't even started eating. At noon that day, Chun Chun finally opened his door and came out. After 2.5 days of cultivation, I finally managed to inscribe my first magic rune. He raised his right arm, looked at it, and was quite satisfied. At this moment, on Qinshin's right arm, there is a black demonic pattern that is nearly 15 centimeters long, and this demonic pattern seems to be alive. It can move according to Qinshin's thoughts. Qinshin can feel that this demonic rune has greatly enhanced his power. Having broken through to the skin pattern realm, Qinshin had just checked his current normal punch and full force punch. The force of an ordinary punch can reach 70,000 to 80,000 kilograms. When the punch is fully activated, the power level rises to nearly 100,000 kilograms. This power is enough to completely overwhelm and beat up many people in the early stages of the manifestation realm. However, those in the manifestation realm won't stay still and let you attack them. Those in the manifestation realm can manifest their chi and blood to unleash long-range attacks, and they are also very fast. Even if a Blood Bell realm warrior is stronger than a manifestation realm warrior, it still depends on whether they can catch up and whether they can defeat the opponent in other aspects. Battles between martial artists are not just a contest of strength. I haven't eaten for more than 2 days, so I came to the kitchen to cook myself a meal. I was so hungry. The higher one's spiritual level, the greater one's need for energy. The energy from the food that an average person eats is no longer sufficient to replenish the energy his body needs at this moment. Fortunately, this is by Mushiwe's home, so there's no need to worry about this issue. The energy contained in these ingredients is enormous, enough to feed by Mushiwe and others in the third realm, let alone someone like him who is only in the second realm. Bai Mushiwe also came out at this time. She had heard Qinshin open the door and came out to see what was going on. "Chinair, cook me a bowl of noodles too, I'm hungry." In just over 2 days, Yizing and Bai Mushiwe successfully mastered the basics of the yin-yang harmony scripture. Now that Qinshin has emerged from seclusion, they plan to test the effects of this sun-level dual cultivation technique tonight. Bai Mushiwe also came down and went to the first floor. However, as he approached Qinshin, he frowned slightly and looked at Qinshin with a somewhat suspicious expression. "Chinair, why do I feel like you've become much stronger?" Qinshin smiled, his face full of confidence. "Of course, I've been breaking through to the horizontal cultivation realm in my room these past 2 days." Upon hearing this, Bai Mushiwe's mouth dropped open in surprise. "No, didn't you just break through to the jade skin realm? And you haven't even broken through to the demon skin realm yet. How could you open 4 cores and break through to the skin pattern realm?" Bai Mushiwe immediately became anxious. She believed that Qinshin was already at the skin texture realm, and had not yet reached the demon skin level in the copper skin realm. Only those who have reached the demon skin realm know the power of this hidden realm and its benefits for building a solid foundation for future physical training. Bai Mushiwe was both anxious and angry at this moment, and she was so angry that she almost jumped up on the spot. "Mushiwe, don't panic, look." Qinshin sensed that Bai Mushiwe was about to hit him in anger, so he quickly unleashed his demonic energy. In an instant, a set of jet black armor completely enveloped Qinshin's entire body. In an instant, it was as if the entire space had frozen. Bai Mushiwe's body stiffened, her eyes wide with astonishment, and her gaze blank as she stared at Qinshin with her mouth slightly open. I find it absolutely unbelievable. Chapter 42. The first attempt at the yin-yang harmony scripture. "No, you just broke through to the jade skin realm a couple of days ago. You're telling me that in the past 3 days, you broke through to the hidden realm of demon skin, and then casually broke through to the skin pattern realm. Moreover, why is it that your demon skin realm, which you reached in such a short time, is stronger than mine?" Bai Mushiwe felt her worldview collapsing. They suspected that the flow of time around Qinshin was different from theirs, perhaps much faster. Use 1 day as if it were 5 or 6. Bai Mushiwe frowned slightly, staring at Qinshin with a puzzled look in her eyes. "How did you manage to cultivate to this level of demon skin realm in such a short time?" Qinshin retracted his black armor into his body and looked at Bai Mushiwe with some confusion. "Is there still a gap between the demon skin realm and the demon skin realm?" Bai Mushiwe hesitated, as if to say something, but then stopped herself. "So you yourself don't know how powerful your demon skin realm is?" With a thought, countless black energies surged from Bai Mushiwe's body, forming a rough suit of armor that covered her entire body. The armor she wore was not the kind of armor that completely covered her entire body like Qinshin's. Some parts of her body were only covered by a thin layer of black mist, not very solid. Just like the armor hero, some parts of his body are covered in armor, but other parts are just black clothes that are not covered by armor. That's the difference between her and Qinshin. Qinshin could be said to have covered all the costs, while Bai Mushiwe could be said to have covered most of them. Qinshin also understood. So, the demon skin realm depends on the amount of demonic energy one possesses. The more demonic energy, the stronger one is? By Mushua nodded. Many other geniuses can only form a piece of clothing or a set of clothes on their bodies with the demonic energy they gain in the demon skin realm. I am already in the category of being able to form a set of armor. But I didn't expect you to be even more incredible, completely covering your entire body. Shin could only think to himself, you don't understand the world of cheaters. Bai Mushua felt a bit of pressure at this moment. Shin has only been practicing martial arts for almost half a month. How come he has become stronger so quickly? Both physical training and chi and blood cultivation have reached the second level. Is reaching the third realm still far off? So you've been breaking through realms these past 3 days. How's your cultivation of the yin-yang harmony scripture going? Bai Mushua blushed when she asked that question. Shin naturally understood Bai Mushua's thoughts, raised an eyebrow at her, and smiled. That's naturally the beginning of cultivation. Tonight, let's see just how powerful this yin-yang harmony scripture really is. Bai Mushua nodded slightly. You're all cultivating together tonight. How can you leave me out? Yizing suddenly appeared at the kitchen doorway, leaning against the door frame, looking at the two of them with a smile. Shin glanced at Yizing and smiled. Don't worry, none of you will be shortchanged. Shin was also full of confidence at this moment. With my golden kidneys, I am invincible. No matter how many come, I can handle them with ease. After making the noodles, Shin ate 5 bowls in one go. Finally, I filled my stomach. Later, they went to the back garden, lay down on a chair, and decided to rest. After all, it's important to balance work and rest. We need to conserve our energy and build up our strength. That evening, Yizing arrived at Shin's room early. The two sat cross-legged facing each other, their hands touching. Their souls seemed to have entered a fantastical space, where they touched and gradually merged, with wisps of pure yin and yang energy slowly emerging. And this yin and yang energy is nourishing their physical bodies and elevating their realm. The soul is the most important part of a person, and the two were very cautious at first. After a long while, Yizing was covered in sweat, and strands of hair stuck to her forehead. She collapsed weakly into Shin's arms. After settling Yizing down, Shin turned his gaze to Bai Mushua. Late at night, Shin left the room and went to the balcony to enjoy the cool breeze. Bai Mushua had already fallen asleep. He remained upright and showed no signs of being out of breath. Shin was very satisfied, a smile spreading across his face. This was his current strength. Golden kidneys, terrifyingly powerful. Even at the level of the soul, the golden kidneys can still function, and this soul fusion was very effective. Shin assessed his current level of cultivation. After applying yin and yang energy to chi and blood martial arts, Shin's chi and blood has now reached 2038 points, an increase of more than 300 points. Is this the power of top-tier cultivation techniques? The next day, Bai Mushua and Yizing also got up. They could all feel the significant improvement in their strength from last night's cultivation, and they were all satisfied. Sure enough, hard work always pays off. After that, by improving your proficiency with the yin-yang he dao jing, scripture of yin-yang harmony, your cultivation will only become faster and faster. Moreover, Shin also discovered something. The faster his cultivation speed, the greater the improvement he would gain through this cultivation technique. Shin was also satisfied. As expected of a product from the system, it was bound to be of high quality. I've only collected 2 goddesses so far, and I've already gotten so many good things. If I collect more in the future and the system rewards me with even more good things, then I'll be on the verge of taking off. We have no shortage of cultivation techniques, no shortage of talent, and no shortage of spiritual treasures. Shin had already begun to fantasize about his wonderful future life. Today also marks the start of the Genius Sprint Camp in Tianlin City. 518-year-old geniuses from Tianlin City and surrounding counties will gather together to compete. Who can reach the pinnacle of genius? Shin laughed loudly and, with Yizing's help, got dressed. Let's go. Let's see just how strong the 500 geniuses from the entire urban area of Tianlin City and the surrounding counties really are. Shin felt that he was increasingly feeling like an emperor, even needing women to serve him when he was getting dressed. Yizing looked at Shin helplessly. If it weren't for Shin's persistent request, she wouldn't have helped him get dressed like a maid. However, Yizing could also feel that her feelings for Shin were getting deeper and deeper, and she felt that she was becoming more and more inseparable from Shin. Shin also checked Yizing's current level of affection for him, which had reached 89. This level of affection isn't as deep as by Mushiue's, but it's still deeper than that of many truly loving couples. Chapter 43. The Genius Sprint Camp begins. Chen wasn't in a hurry. His relationship with Yizing was somewhat unexpected, and their feelings still needed time to develop. Having been nourished by Chen, Bai Muxue now exudes a mature charm, no longer as simply cold as before. Not long after, the Education Bureau sent a bus to their doorstep to pick them up. After the three got on the bus, everyone else on the bus looked at them, and some even greeted them. In the sprint camp, strength is paramount, and these three are among the strongest, naturally attracting the attention of others. Those who greet them and try to get close to them all have ulterior motives. They all hope that the three of them could help them out in the Genius Sprint Camp, since they were from the same martial arts school before. However, Chen had absolutely no interest in these people. He knew that some of these people were from the Shuiyun Martial Arts Academy, and a few of them were people who had mocked him before he was able to cultivate. Should I lend them a hand? How can you be so shameless? What nonsense are they thinking? It's already a sign of his great mercy that he's not teaching them a lesson. Chen is someone who only cares about himself. As for others, whether they live or die is none of his business. He only cares about his own safety and the safety of those around him. What about the lives of others? Let them die peacefully then. I wouldn't want to save them anyway, even if I knew. If you have never received any kindness from the world, why should you expect to be kind to it? He's not a saint. This year's Genius Sprint Camp has a total of 500 participants. These 500 people are all 18-year-old martial artists from Tianlin City who are either highly talented or strong. Those powerful families took up 300 spots, and the remaining 200 were distributed to schools in Tianlin City and surrounding counties. Chen, be careful in this Genius Sprint Camp. As far as I know, the geniuses secretly cultivated by the families in Tianlin City will participate, as will the branches of the major powers located in Tianlin City. These geniuses they secretly cultivated have almost all reached the third realm. You must be careful. Someone shared some information they knew with Chen as a gesture of goodwill, hoping to gain his favor. Chen smiled, not caring at all. As for those geniuses of the third realm that this person mentioned, cultivated by the branches established by their families or powerful forces in Tianlin City, he could only scoff. Didn't you see how Zhang Haolin from the War God Boxing Gym was instantly killed by Muxue? There is a huge difference between geniuses. On the bus, the three of them sat in the last row of seats. The last row of seats could seat 4 people, but no one dared to sit with them. They didn't even know where the Genius Sprint Camp was held. We had no choice but to let the Education Bureau's driver lead the way. Gradually, they left the city and entered the countryside, while the vehicle continued to move forward. Finally, we arrived at the foot of a mountain range. The other buses were also parked here. Many people have already arrived and are standing in this open space, but no staff members have come. These people were all sizing each other up, and their gazes towards them were not very friendly. After all, they will be in competition from now on, and they are all geniuses who are confident in their own talents and strength and are no less than others. The 500 selected from over 100,000 18-year-old candidates are all geniuses, 1 in 100. When Chen's car arrived and people started getting out, many people present turned their attention to the vehicle. It's all because Bai Muxue and Yizing, the top 2 on the prodigy ranking, are standing in front of the car. They also knew that their biggest competitors were these 2 exceptional women. As for Chen, he is only 9th on the prodigy ranking. There are many people stronger than him ahead of him. There's no need to pay him any attention. As soon as the 3 of them came down, they noticed that the eyes of hundreds of people present were on them. Chen pursed her lips, sensing that these people's gazes weren't directed at him, but rather at the 2 people beside her. Both were filled with hostility, but many others were filled with longing. Bai Muxue turned her gaze to the left, where someone's gaze made her a little uncomfortable. He was a short-haired man wearing a training uniform with the logo of the Qingtian Martial Arts School. He was fairly good-looking, but the disgusting look he gave her was completely undisguised, which made Bai Muxue feel disgusted. Nausea. Bai Muxue simply flicked her finger. A bead of energy formed from icy blood condensed on his fingertip and shot towards the young man wearing the training clothes of the sky-piercing martial arts school at a speed almost invisible to the naked eye. The young man's eyes widened in surprise. He hadn't expected Bai Muxue to attack so directly. In a panic, he hurriedly struck out with a palm, and a blood-red palm print appeared. However, it was no match for Bai Muxue's icy light pearl, which directly pierced through the blood-red palm print, and then instantly pierced through the young man's palm and out through the back of his hand. The young man dressed in the Qingtian martial arts school uniform immediately squatted down on the ground with a pained expression. He gripped his right wrist tightly with his left hand, and his palm was pierced through, causing him great pain. Moreover, the icy light orb that Bai Muxue unleashed carried her own extreme, icy attribute. At this moment, the terrifying icy attribute was corroding the young man's palm. His once warm palm instantly turned bloodless and was frozen solid, his entire hand becoming stiff. If it's not treated quickly, my entire right hand will be ruined. At this moment, a man dressed in the same Qingtian martial arts school uniform next to the young man suddenly changed his expression, came to the young man's side, and continuously poured his own blood and energy into the wound. It counteracts Bai Muxue's powerful icy attribute. However, he couldn't handle it alone, so several other students from the Qingtian Martial Arts Academy came to help. Only through combined efforts could they manage to neutralize the power of Bai Muxue's casual attack. Seeing that they had dissipated the icy energy in the young man's palm, the four of them squatted on the ground, panting heavily, their bodies exhausted from the excessive energy consumption. The people from Qingtian Martial Arts School didn't dare to rebuke Bai Muxue for her violent behavior, fearing they might get a taste of her own medicine. Who told their own martial arts school disciples to be so arrogant and look down on others like that? At this moment, all eyes were on Bai Muxue, their eyes filled with apprehension. Such an attack was merely a casual outburst from the opponent. Is this the strength of the number one on the Tianlin City Prodigy ranking? Chapter 44, A Show of Force from Lin Hongkai. Not far away, Wang Tungyan, his face filled with fear, hid. He was afraid that Bai Muxue would discover he was Wang Tungfei's brother and casually attack him. These factions' top talents all now consider Bai Muxue their biggest rival in this year's elite sprint camp. Even the geniuses secretly cultivated by other factions are no match for Bai Muxue's threat. More than 10 minutes later, the last few buses finally arrived. All 500 people had arrived, and it was at this time that many black dots rapidly approached from the horizon, carrying with them a powerful and oppressive aura. Instantly, all 500 people in the audience felt an extremely powerful and terrifying aura sweeping over them, like a prehistoric beast. Some people thought it was some powerful, ferocious beast attacking, and their faces turned pale as they sat down weakly on the ground, feeling extremely frightened. Some people, however, simply couldn't resist the oppressive force and knelt on the ground. Then, in an instant, 9 figures appeared in the sky. The appearance of the 9 people amplified the oppressive aura many times over. More than 100 people present were so weak that they sat down on the ground, their mouths trembling, terrified by the aura emanating from the crowd. 3 seconds later, the oppressive force dissipated. Those who couldn't withstand the pressure of my chi and blood have all been eliminated. Send them back. The leader, a man with a mustache, spoke indifferently. Then, some people came out from the surrounding forest and casually threw those who were kneeling or slumped on the ground into the bus, preparing to send them back. At this moment, the people who were thrown onto the car were still in a daze. No, this genius sprint camp hasn't even started yet. How could I have been eliminated? It's not fair. It's absolutely unfair. Some people came to their senses and began to roar loudly at Lin Hongkai in the sky, their faces full of resentment. Unwilling to leave before achieving anything in this elite sprint camp, Lin Hongkai's cold, ruthless, and murderous gaze immediately fell upon them. You can't even withstand 1/10 of my pressure. Such trash is just wasting my resources by coming to my genius sprint camp. Why should I keep you around? Go back. At this moment, Lim Hongchai displayed his authority as Minister of Education to the fullest. Chen Shen looked at the person in the sky with a suspicious expression. He had seen this person on TV before and knew he was the director of the Education Bureau of Tianlin City, one of the 3 most powerful people in Tianlin City. But in a small city like Tianlin City, aren't the 3 strongest warriors usually at the 5th level of the secret realm? But now you're telling me that the pressure you just felt was only 1/10 of the pressure you, a martial artist at the secret realm, could exert? Why can't I believe it? If martial artists in the secret realm are that powerful, how strong must the warriors above be? He is not a martial artist in the secret realm, but a powerful expert in the 7th level of Qi and blood, the heavenly gang realm. Bai Muxue calmly offered an explanation from the side. Upon hearing this, Chen Shen opened his mouth in surprise. No, Muxue, you're telling me that the director of the Education Bureau in our small city of Tianlin is actually a heavenly gang realm expert? Bai Muxue nodded. She had sensed this aura before in her own clan. It belonged to a martial artist at the heavenly gang realm, and it was even stronger than the Heavenly Gang realm martial artist she had sensed before. She didn't know why such a powerful person would come to such a small place as Tianlin City to be the director of the Education Bureau. If he wanted to, he could probably become the director of the Education Bureau of one of the strongest cities in Tianjin province. At this moment, Chen Chen frowned slightly. Why did he feel that this Minister of Education of the Heavenly Gang realm was looking at him? Indeed, Lin Hongkai was sizing up Chen Chen at that moment. Not bad. In just a few days, your chi and blood and body tempering have both reached the second level. You can now be considered a second-level martial artist. Generally, only when two martial arts realms reach the same level simultaneously can a person be called a multi-realm martial artist. Just like Chen Chen, whose chi and blood are currently at the blood bell realm, and whose horizontal training is at the skin pattern realm, he can be called a second-realm martial artist. Lin Hongkai muttered something to himself, then looked at the remaining 300-plus people. I believe you all know my identity, so I don't need to introduce myself further. I will be the head instructor for this year's elite sprint camp. The people who are eliminated today are not the last batch to be eliminated. Some of you will be eliminated in the future. This year's elite sprint camp will last for 4 weeks. During these 4 weeks, there will be a ranking of strength within the camp. Those who are strong will rank higher, and those who are weaker will rank lower. There will be a weekend ranking assessment every week. After midnight on Sunday, anyone who ranks in the bottom 20 will be eliminated. If you don't want to be in the bottom 20, then you have to train desperately and improve your strength as much as possible. In this genius sprint camp, everything is based on strength. The faster you improve your strength, the more resources you can obtain. During this first week, each of you will have 100 points, which can be used to purchase the cultivation resources you need in the Sprint Camp's online store. You will have equal cultivation resources, and there will be no inequality in resources. If you want points in the future, you will have to earn them yourself. And in a week, it will be time to test your training results. At that time, the bottom 20 people will be eliminated. Now, I will give each of you a bracelet. This bracelet records the ranking list we have given you. If there is anyone you want to challenge, you can challenge them. If you succeed in the challenge, you will get their ranking. But what I want to say is that each person only has 1 challenge opportunity per day and only 7 challenge opportunities per week. If you fail to challenge successfully in 7 attempts, you will remain in the same position for the rest of the week. And the online store for the Sprint Camp also features the functions of this bracelet. Now, let's go with us to the place where we'll be living together for the next month. Subsequently, led by Lin Hongkai and his group, more than 300 people entered the mountain forest in a grand procession. This mountain range is not safe. Ferocious beasts roam within it. The ferocious beasts are not of the demon race. They have no intelligence and will not develop intelligence. They are of low intelligence and love to kill. If there is no food, they will even kill their own kind of ferocious beasts to make them their food. Chapter 45 Rankings and Challenges. Once you enter this mountain range, you can clearly hear the roars of ferocious beasts coming from the deep forests. Just listening to it is quite awe-inspiring. If you are afraid of these ferocious beasts now, I hope you can leave the sprint camp now, because hunting the ferocious beasts in the Broken Mountain Range will become your compulsory course in the future. By hunting ferocious beasts, you can earn more points and exchange them for more resources. From now on, you will only have 3 ways to earn points. The first thing is the ranking. The higher the ranking, the more points you can get. So, if you want more resources, you need to hurry up and climb the rankings. The second test is the self-test. In the sprint camp, there are 5 places to test yourself: gravity chamber, strength test, reaction test, speed test, and combat simulation test. The higher your score, the more points you will get. So you should seize the time to improve your strength and increase your scores in these tests. As for the third one, it's hunting ferocious beasts. The cores of the ferocious beasts you hunt can be exchanged for points. The crystal core of a ferocious beast is something inside its brain. It is the crystallization of its life force, and only ferocious beasts possess it. Even demons do not have it. This is also the difference between demons and ferocious beasts. The crystal cores of ferocious beasts have many uses. They can be used to forge weapons, as raw materials for alchemy, or to assist in cultivation. After a long and arduous journey, the group of more than 300 people finally arrived at their destination. In order to let these geniuses experience killing, learn to fight, and hunt ferocious beasts, Lin Hongkai specially built the training ground on a small plain halfway up the Duanyu Mountains. There is a spring of spiritual energy underground here. Cultivating here will be much more effective, and it will also be of some help to these geniuses. Upon arriving at this training base, One is greeted by a landscape of machinery and construction sites. Alright, we've arrived. You can go find your rooms now. Oh, by the way, your rooms are arranged according to your ranking. People ranked 50th or lower can only stay in the